When I, 25 female, was 9, my parents adopted my sister Jen, who was 7 then. Jen was thin and fearful due to being neglected. We did everything to make her feel loved. We bought her lots of toys. Everything Jen wanted, she got. When my parents asked me to move to the smaller bedroom so Jen could have my room, I was happy to. I agreed when they asked if I would let Jen pick the decorations and cake for my upcoming birthday. I was so excited to have a sister and understood why my parents gave her special treatment. Only the treatment didn't stop. For years, we had to do what Jen wanted every trip we went on. We had to eat where she wanted to eat, and she got to plan all my birthday parties. If she didn't get what she wanted, she threw a tantrum. I still felt loved and cared for by my parents. They drove me to practices, bought me things, cooked meals for me, spent quality time and gave me advice, but I was always second to Jen. As I got older, I did anything I could to leave the house. I got my first job when I was 12. I vacationed with friends instead of family. I played 3 different sports and did band. I took my driver's test the day I turned 16 and bought a car the day after. I went to college on the other side of the country. Now that I make good money, I do things I missed as a child. I take fancy vacations and throw elaborate parties as I please. My wedding was no exception. My fiancé, Kip, and I wanted everything to be perfect. We thought it would be fun to have a colour scheme. My favourite colour is yellow and his is blue, so my guests would wear yellow and his would wear blue, and mutual friends would wear green. I picked a dress with green embroidered details and he picked a boutonniere with green flowers. When Jen found out about this, she was mad. I didn't know this, but she hates yellow. It washes her out. She told me under no circumstances would she wear yellow. I shrugged and said that was fine, I would just kick her out if she didn't wear yellow. There was no further discussion, but Jen came in a purple dress on my wedding day. I told her to leave immediately. The colour scheme was perfect, but she ruined it. Jen refused to leave until I threatened to call security. The rest of the wedding went smoothly, but afterward my parents were furious with me for kicking Jen out. I told them I warned her she would be kicked out if she didn't follow the colour scheme, but they said they all thought it was a joke. They said it was cruel of me to kick my sister out over something so trivial. I told them this was my wedding that I threw without their support so I could kick out whoever I wanted to. Kip came rushing to defend me and even told my parents they should be ashamed of how they treated me. But over the past few days, a lot of people I've talked to, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, have been mixed. Some say they wouldn't have even invited Jen if they were me, while others think I should have let it slide. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I've been to weddings where the bride and groom wanted a colour scheme. To date, I haven't known anyone who had such a problem that they showed up in a different colour just for spite. Make no mistake about it, that is exactly why your sister showed up in purple. Pure spite. If yellow was the problem, she could have asked to wear blue. Instead, she showed up in purple with the express intention of upstaging the bride and groom and causing a scene, knowing all the time that your parents would back her up. Your parents have been crappy to you ever since your sister showed up. Time to call them and your sister out for their obnoxious behaviour and blatant favouritism. Gotta tell you, I won't come to this wedding. Yeah, my sister is an entitled brat, but this dress code is obnoxious. Yellow is probably one of the most difficult colours to find nice clothes in, and not just passable for the wedding, but something you can wear again. I'd struggle as a woman, and I don't even know what a guy would wear. A yellow suit? Come on, everyone's the idiot here. Normal suit, yellow tie or shirt. Easy. To me, it's also very telling that Jen is apparently the only guest who had trouble with the colour scheme. If everyone else managed to do it, then it wasn't that damn difficult. Also, I think it's funny how all shades of yellow wash her out. Like, be serious, lol. The parents have enabled her behaviour for years. Apparently, Jen is so accustomed to getting exactly what she wants that she believes she can't possibly be wrong. I, female 23, have 2 children with my husband, a toddler son and an infant daughter. This argument began this Sunday, but apparently my husband has been harbouring this resentment for a while. So I am definitely a night owl when my husband is not. He gets up every day, including weekends, at 6:30 a.m. On weekends, I prefer to sleep in till 9 or 10. Recently, my son has been asking to cuddle with me in the morning when my husband gets him up at 8. We usually sleep in there together for about an hour or 2. This has been going on for basically since my daughter was born. I think it's because he felt a little sad about the new baby, so of course I let him. I would have let him anyway, but especially since the baby. I never knew my husband felt some way about this, until this Sunday when I woke up and he brought him in there. I said out loud, "Good morning, baby, coming to cuddle?" And he said, "Yes, with mommy." I said, "Yeah, baby, Daddy's up already. Want to lay on his side?" My husband snapped then and there. He was like, "Stop babying him like that. You're making him a Velcro baby." I was like, "Whoa, chill." My husband just threw his hands up and left. Later that day, he told me that he absolutely hated this routine and felt like we were babying our son because of the baby. He also says I'm encouraging weird behavior because my son sleeps with his head on my chest and my husband thinks this is him trying to copy breastfeeding the baby. I was like, "Oh my God, you're reading way too far into this." He absolutely disagreed and asked me to stop. Am I the idiot? Time to toughen up a toddler. What the heck? Not the idiot. The little man is barely out of diapers. This is developmentally healthy behavior. Tell your husband to stop being such an alpha douche. Kids are only little for so long, growing up way too fast. It won't be long before he doesn't want to cuddle with you anymore. Yeah, toddlers are still very little. They thrive on routine. They thrive on affection and support. He's not old enough yet to meet Opie's husband's expectations. They won't be little forever. Babying is when they start expressing their independence and you don't let them or make them feel anxious about it. That's what prevents children from being strong. But this kid isn't old enough yet to be held back from anything. They're still trying to understand what the world is like. I get the vibe husband wants a cuddle and affection to be held like the son, and if he wasn't too proud to ask, it would obviously be romantic for them or lead to something intimate, so he can't separate the two in his head. So instead he's jealous, bitter, and trying to make her uncomfortable so she stops doing it. Dude, just ask your wife to hold you and stop being the antagonist in your son's life. My husband's parents stayed with us for a few days. The other night we had an issue that resulted in my stepdaughter being upset and angry, me angry, and them and my husband angry. I met my stepdaughter when she was a young grammar schooler. We married 2 years later. I'll admit, knowing her mom had passed when we first met, I thought I'd be filling in as a mom-like or at least a second mom figure. In my heart, I wanted to be her mom and for her to be my daughter. Before we got married, it was clear that it wouldn't happen. She was actually very resistant to being around me. I told my husband we needed therapy together before we got married because she had to be okay with things, and we needed to figure out what our family dynamic would look like. I won't bore you with unnecessary details, but she didn't want to replace her mom. She was already very insecure about me being around because her parents hadn't been together when her mom died, which to me meant she was alone, loving her mom. But she knew what we wanted, for her to love me and see me as another mom. It scared her. It made her sad. It made her tummy hurt, to quote my stepdaughter. Through therapy, we figured out what the relationship would be like. My husband is the parent, and I'm an adult in the home and a safe person for my stepdaughter. My husband would keep one-on-one time with my stepdaughter, and we'd spend some time together naturally over time and in the way that worked best without forcing it. My stepdaughter would call me by my first name. I call her my stepdaughter, not daughter. We worked it all out. We've been good with all of that. She and I have a good relationship. She's a sweet big sister to her half-siblings, and yes, we use half. It's all normal. Then, a few days ago, my stepdaughter quickly brought friends into the house. New friends. She introduced us all, including me by name. My mother-in-law told her she could say more than my name. She told them I was her stepmother technically, but more of a friend. Then my husband and his parents interrupted and said she should be more generous than that. I'm the only real mother she's ever had in her life, and they started to say how grateful she should be to have someone like me as a mother when she started crying, and I told them to stop. That my name had been fine. They should stop pushing and trying to humiliate her. My stepdaughter told my husband she always knew he thought her mom was worthless, but she doesn't. I told her to go get ready and have fun, gave her some extra cash, and then an argument broke out between them, husband and in-laws, and me. They felt I should appreciate the gesture of defending me. I told them it wasn't defending me, it was done to humiliate her enough to introduce me how they wanted. My husband regretted his actions afterward. I told him he'd have to do a lot to make up for it. His parents, however, feel I was cruelly unfair to them and shouldn't have snapped at them like I did. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your husband broke the contract he made with you and his daughter in therapy to placate his parents. Your stepdaughter clearly gets that your husband hates her mother. I hope you let her talk to you about her mom and her memories. Her mom is half the reason the daughter is a lovely human, and your husband is going to push her away. None of them had any business dropping opinions about your mother-stepdaughter relationship in front of guests, regardless of their age or who invited them. How incredibly rude and hurtful of your in-laws and husband. I'm glad you stood up for the girl and stood your ground. The three of them owe apologies to you both and your stepdaughter's friends who were present. I can't imagine how uncomfortable it was for them when she was brought to tears. So I, 30 female, have a kindergarten-aged daughter who's perfectly healthy and happy. She's a normal kid who loves playing and eating snacks now and then. Recently, my brother, 28, has been visiting often. I've noticed he's taken to calling her chubby and fat as some kind of twisted joke. I thought he was just messing around at first, but it's gotten really out of hand. Every time he sees her, he makes comments like, "Whoa, easy there, big girl," or "You can't have another cookie, you'll end up rolling out of here." It makes my blood boil. I've repeatedly told him to stop, but he always laughs it off like it's just harmless teasing. My daughter doesn't understand that it's supposed to be a joke, but I can see it hurting her feelings. Finally, after the latest incident in which he shouted, "Looks like someone needs a diet," across the room while she was playing, I snapped. I kicked him out of my house and told him to never come back until he learns some respect. Now my family is divided. My parents say I overreacted and that it was just sibling banter. Some friends are on my side saying I did the right thing, but my brother is furious and claims I ruined our relationship over a silly joke. So, am I the idiot for kicking him out and telling him he can't come back unless he respects my daughter? Maybe start calling him Baldy or Tiny Idiot, since these things are so hilarious. Not the idiot. You've asked him not to talk to her like that and he keeps doing it. He's not respecting you or your daughter in your home. This has nothing to do with the rest of your family. He needs to grow up. And it's not a silly joke. This is how young girls get damaged self-esteem, mental health issues and eating disorders that can kill them or permanently damage their bodies. No kindergartner should have to hear this crap and internalize it into self-hatred. Your brother is harming a child, so no, it's not a silly little joke. He's being emotionally abusive. That's not okay. Your kid is not his punching bag. And quite frankly, he deserved a whole lot worse for being an adult bully to a kid. What a piece of human trash. This isn't about a joke. This is about your brother believing he can comment on other people's bodies. This is about your brother believing he is somehow superior to other people. This is about his misogyny and blatant lack of respect for women. Unfortunately, your daughter will face lots of people like your brother. It's important that she learn how to deal with them this early in life. Good job showing her a great example. My 29 female twin sister Maya has a young toddler, Lucas. A little backstory. She had a horrible pregnancy right from the first trimester and had to quit her job since she was spending too much time out of the office. Her ex-boyfriend turned out to be a piece of crap who claimed Maya had cheated on him and pinned the baby on him. When my family insisted on taking a paternity test as soon as the baby was born, he agreed but went out for some milk before the due date. After Lucas was born, finances became too tricky with the newborn and Maya's postpartum complications. She asked if I could let her stay with me temporarily so she didn't have to pay rent, and I agreed. I also have an extra room in my house, which I inherited from my grandma, so I don't have to worry about rent either. Long story short, it's been tough living with a baby whose mother needs so much more help than one person can provide. Our parents live too far to be of any help. Anyway, I was okay with waking up half the time to give Lucas his bottle or staying with him when she needed some time to herself. I also paid for everything baby-related. Hospital bills for both her and my nephew, food, clothes and diapers, you name it. But now that both Maya and my nephew are stable enough that she resumed working, she started pushing for more. She expected me to keep paying for everything, but I told her it's harder now that I'm not putting in as many hours and I get paid per hour. Still, she buys nothing and I end up paying anyway. She also thinks paying for daycare doesn't make sense when I'm home most of the day. I ended up paying for it myself when she wouldn't. I think it's more important to add I refuse to adopt Lucas. Everyone has always known I will adopt a child or more in the future, but when Maya asked, I didn't think she'd be willing to stay in her bio son's life as an aunt, and I don't think the confusion would do anyone any good. So on Monday, she asked me to take Lucas to his hospital appointment, and I said no. I told her to take a day off for that because my job hasn't been doing well lately as I've been spending too much time taking care of Lucas. She pointed out how this is my nephew and if I adopt kids, I will need to make sacrifices too, to which I said, I will make them when the time comes, but I'm not Lucas's dad, and although I'm happy to help where I can, I shouldn't be expected to change my life for him. Maya took a day off, but since the appointment she hasn't spoken to me except with a yes or no mumble when I talk to her, and she's been keeping Lucas in her room when he's not at daycare. I do love the little guy with all my life, and I'm wondering if maybe I took things too far. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Mentioning you'll have to make sacrifices after how much you've already stepped up reeks of manipulation and entitlement. Yes, she has it hard, but she must also appreciate and respect how much you've helped. And you need the ability to live and move freely, or you'll both sink. She should probably go move in with mom or dad, but you should discuss responsibilities and finances and a move-out date. Has it been hard? She's living rent-free with her family paying most of her baby and healthcare expenses and helping her out regularly. That's more help than a lot of new mothers have when they have a partner. People like this remind me of my sister-in-law, who's always whining about being a struggling single mother when she actually lived with her doting parents. She went back to work while her mom acted as a 24/7 unpaid nanny, cleaner and cook, and her parents picked up most of the expenses of having a child: groceries, medical, school expenses, clothes, etc. I think many single mothers do a great job, but let's not pretend that someone supported by parents and/or siblings is worse off than someone supported by a partner. Dude, your sister is taking advantage of you. You need to reclaim your life and house. Sorry to say, your sister is a parasite.